If in the world of shinobi we once had legends like Madara, Hashirama, or even Kaguya, at least in this latest era, we have a villain who is truly on a different level, and that villain is Momoshiki. Regardless of fans' various assumptions, especially regarding the power levels between Momoshiki and Kaguya, or who is stronger between the two, I'm confident that the majority of those who have followed the Naruto story up to Boruto, especially the time skip, would agree that Momoshiki's power level surpasses Kaguya's, right? And we also know that among the various techniques or powers Momoshiki possesses, there's at least one that I believe no other Otsutsuki on Earth could handle. Based on his battle during the Chunin exam, Momoshiki isn't just about physical strength or ninjutsu. He consumes chakra as well. While other Otsutsuki may do the same, the issue is that he absorbs all chakra-based techniques like Rasengan, lightning jutsu, water jutsu, and even Bijudama. But since the context this time isn't just about Momoshiki, but Boruto is the main topic, what do you think is Momoshiki's actual power that Boruto can use to defeat every enemy, even Jura himself as the main villain? Because once again, if a figure like Momoshiki has become a part of Boruto, has Boruto been strong all this time because he is Boruto, or even because of Momoshiki? Perhaps this analogy is not too far off from a very familiar one from the previous era. For example, Naruto, because I'm sure you've all heard this question before. Is Naruto strong because he is Naruto, or is Naruto strong because he has Kurama? In this case, Boruto is in the same situation. However, at this point, I don't want to answer, but rather hear your opinions. And back to the main point, especially after Boruto and Momoshiki's negotiations showed a final result where Momoshiki agreed to Boruto's offer, finally in chapter 29, Momoshiki allowed Boruto to use karma or Momoshiki's power freely. And of course, do you also think the same if Boruto has access to Momoshiki's power? Is there a power or something far greater than the Byakugan or karma? As I mentioned earlier, the most terrifying power of Momoshiki is his Rinnegan eyes. With the Rinnegan, he can absorb any ninjutsu, so using ninjutsu in front of Momoshiki is like food for him, because after he absorbs the ninjutsu, he can process it into chakra pills that he can eat to strengthen his body or restore his stamina. This is what gives Momoshiki almost unlimited stamina, which sounds crazy. And regardless of how he is ultimately defeated, at least every time he runs out of energy, he only needs to create chakra pills from the ninjutsu he absorbs, right? And of course, does that mean Boruto has a high probability of accessing that power? But guys, if we look at the concept of karma, especially the power of karma itself, does Boruto still need the Rinnegan like Momoshiki? Because after all, if Boruto already has karma, he shouldn't need to use the power of the Rinnegan, which can create chakra pills just to restore his energy. But regardless of whether this will happen or not, at least after Boruto and Momoshiki have become one, these four powers will likely be used by Boruto sooner or later. First, to be honest, representing this power is actually quite complex. In other words, Boruto has the ability to detect threats, or perhaps more accurately, to predict them. Or maybe it's a power that is very familiar to the Sharingan. But remember, I don't mean to say that it is the Sharingan, and that's why I call it quite complex. For example, after Boruto was ultimately framed by Kawaki for killing his parents, almost all of his friends wanted to kill him. Until one moment, Boruto finally met Mitsuki, who at that time really wanted to kill him. However, as you can see, somehow Momoshiki told Boruto to jump. And without any questions or anything, after Boruto followed Momoshiki's instructions, Boruto managed to avoid an attack that suddenly came from the ground. So in this case, was it just a coincidence? And do you feel that Momoshiki indirectly showed us that he has the power to see 2 steps ahead? Yeah, you know what I mean, right? But since I mentioned earlier that this ability sounds quite complex, what is the most relevant phrase to describe this power or ability? Yeah, I want to hear your opinions, guys. Then, for the next power or ability, you might think this sounds ridiculous, but trust me, it may not be that simple. And the second power or ability is a technique of balance, or it could also be called concentration. Because as we all know, up to this point, one of Boruto's weaknesses is Hiraishin. I mean, Boruto can easily detect chakra in metal as a medium for him to teleport. But of course, Boruto also has limitations or problems when the distance or location is extremely far. Aside from having to control his chakra, he also needs time to focus in order to detect the exact point where he will teleport. And once again, regardless of how you respond to this, especially if it sounds ridiculous because it seems that simple, I'm confident that with Momoshiki's help, this will have a significant impact on Boruto during his fight against Jura later on, especially in maintaining focus when using the Flying Thunder God technique. Because once again, this isn't just about power alone. There are so many things we never even imagined, and something this simple could actually play a very important role. But by using Momoshiki's karma, Boruto's concentration would be far more refined than before. Or even with karma itself, Boruto has massive potential to create portals or something similar to teleport instantly. Yeah, you know what I mean, right? That means Karma's abilities could also allow Boruto to track any coordinates quickly and easily. So in other words, it makes perfect sense that Boruto could master the Flying Thunder God to a level that even surpasses Minato in teleportation techniques, right? As for the third power or ability, it will be similar to Kashin Koji's ability. Yes, and that is to see the future. And perhaps so far we have seen how Boruto made decisions when he worked with Koji, especially regarding moving towards an ideal future. And we know that Boruto has repeatedly taken actions without involving Kashin Koji, which has certainly caused the future to branch out in different directions. And honestly, we can't really blame Boruto for this decision either, especially since Boruto also has his own priorities. But of course, the question is, were these actions, particularly the priorities he chose, even if they ended up ruining the scenario that Kashin Koji had set up, the result of Momoshiki's influence? Or did Boruto even know that? But at least after Boruto uses Momoshiki's Byakugan ability and power, believe it or not, Boruto doesn't just have the basic abilities of the Byakugan. Instead, he will also master Momoshiki's ability to see the future. But even though the future seen by Momoshiki's Byakugan eyes is not the same as Koji's ability, at least Boruto can see fragments of the future that will happen in the near future. Yeah, you know what I mean, right? By seeing the future, Boruto can change the course of the future he doesn't want, or he can ensure that the future happens as he desires. Yeah, even though this would directly contradict Kashin Koji, that's exactly what will make it the most interesting part, right? And for the last one, the fourth ability, this might not entirely be Momoshiki's power, because in reality, this is also the foundation of Boruto's own power. Yep, shadow cloning. So far, Boruto has never used that ability. Regardless of the reason, at least in the era before the time skip, Boruto still used that ability. But we also know that Boruto isn't Naruto, and we also know that the chakra capacity between Boruto and Naruto is vastly different. But the point is, if Boruto uses shadow clones on a massive scale, it will drain his chakra significantly. And if that happens, Boruto will have a big enough opening for Momoshiki to possess him. So maybe this is the reason why after the time skip, Boruto is very careful, or perhaps more accurately, considers using shadow clones so as not to drain his chakra too much. But if Boruto and Momoshiki have become one, I don't think this is a big problem anymore. That means Boruto doesn't have to worry about running out of chakra. With Momoshiki's help, Boruto should have much more chakra capacity without having to worry about running out if he uses shadow clones. And yeah, at least for this point, only the 4 of them possess the potential to master or perfect this technique in the future. But if you have your own perspective, let me know in the comments. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm Nim without the E. See you in the next video. Bye-bye, Dada Bio.